Okay, so we left off at the Spanish-American War, so we're at World War One. Remember, there's different causes for Europe and for the United States on entering World War One. So remember, mania, militarism, alliances, nationalism, imperialism, and assassination are the European causes. So militarism is the stockpiling of your weapons. So you build up your military and you stockpile it, and if you build it, you will use it. So if you build it, you will use it. Alliances means when you get into a fight, you got a whole lot of other people who have to join the fight because alliances are entangling alliances. Nationalism is extreme pride in your country, your race, and this is another one that we're going to look at. Imperialism is about expanding your country. It's about conquering other people. And then the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, the heir to the Austrian throne, Habsburg, is exactly why the spark, that "oh no you didn't" moment, happens, and that's where Europe goes to war. But remember, America doesn't care about why Europe goes to war. We only care when we're actually directly attacked. So for the United States, we enter World War I because of unrestricted U-boat activity. So the German submarines, U-boats, they're attacking civilian and military ships out in the Atlantic Ocean. And because the United States isn't involved in the war, we don't feel that our ships should be getting attacked. But Germany's like, yeah, they should, because you're sending weapons, supplies to the Allies, to Britain and France and Russia. The Zimmerman note, author Zimmerman, he sends a note to Mexico saying, hey, you know what? If you start a war with the United States and get them busy, we, the German people, will help you out once we conquer all of Europe. That's a direct threat on U.S. security, and that's a U.S. cause for us entering the war. Countries that are in the alliances, okay, the allies are going to be Britain, France, the U.S., and Russia is actually a part of the Allies, but remember, they have the Bolshevik Revolution or the Communist Revolution, and they have to exit out once they have that revolution. The Central Powers is going to be Germany, Austria, and then the Ottoman Empire. And because they're all in the Central Powers, they're the people that the Allies fight. The Central Powers will be the ones that lose. So the results, the Allies actually win the war, and they win, and then we get the Treaty of Versailles that's going to be signed. And the Treaty of Versailles is signed by the Allies. The United States never signs it. And because the U.S. doesn't sign it, we don't join the League of Nations. The United States goes back to a period of isolationism or a return to normacy in which the U.S. refuses to get involved in world affairs. So the next war we're going to look at is World War II. So remember, when you look at World War II, if you remember TIRE, totalitarianism, isolationism, revenge, economics, you're going to be able to remember the actual causes for World War II. So remember, these are really kind of world causes. These are European causes. So totalitarianism is a dictatorship, it's fascism. So we get the rise of the dictators. Isolationism, you can also say here / imperialism. Either one of those is actually correct, because when you look at isolationism, the United States retreats back to our isolationist viewpoints, and we will retreat back to our isolationist viewpoints because after World War I, the U.S. doesn't want to get involved in another war. Imperialism, like Hitler, Germany, Italy, they're all wanting to gain land. That would be imperialism. Hitler and Mussolini and Japan, they also want revenge. They want revenge for what happens in World War I or what happened previously. The economies of the areas also suck. I mean, like, they don't have jobs, they don't have money, they don't have anything. And the easiest way to build up your economy is just like what the U.S. did, was imperialism. You know, you conquer other places and it helps your economy. Countries, we got the Allies versus the Axis. So remember the big three. The big three are going to be the U.S., they're going to be the Soviet Union, the USSR, and Britain. And remember, the U.S. is going to be led by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the Soviet Union is going to be led by Joseph Stalin, and Britain is going to be led by Sir Winston Churchill. Now, the U.S., FDR does die, and Truman will finish out the war. The Axis is going to be the bad guys. It'll be Germany, Italy, and Japan. And the easiest way to remember this is jig, so J-I-G. They dance a jig around the world. You know, not a good jig, like a bad jig, because they're bad dancers, because they're bad people. The results. Allies are going to win, and they're going to establish the United Nations, and then the Cold War starts immediately after World War II ends. Some people argue that the Cold War starts during World War II because Joseph Stalin does not get along with Truman, and President Truman does not get along with Joseph Stalin. And we do drop the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan, and this could actually be considered by a lot of historians the starting point of the Cold War. So the Korean War is the next war we look at. North Korea was set up after World War II as a communist nation. And so North Korea is going to invade South Korea. And remember, a long time ago, Korea was actually a united country until Japan conquered it in 1905. And from really kind of then on, you kind of see Korea being kind of diced and mutilated by conquerors. And so when World War II ends, northern part of Korea is going to become a communist nation, and the southern part of Korea is going to become a democracy, and it's divided along the 38th parallel. Because North Korea invades South Korea, a war starts, and it's really a civil war. The United Nations is going to use, with the Security Council, an action called the police action. And so the United States and the United Nations forces, they go in, and the U.S. will push North Korea back to the 38th parallel. And this reestablishes basically the division between North and South Korea. I'm sorry that you saw my computer screen, but whatever, it'll be okay. You're getting the answers to the study guide. So now we look at the Vietnam War. Same thing here. After World War II, Vietnam has been divided according to the Geneva Accords. So Vietnam's been divided along northern part, which is going to be a communist zone, and then the southern part, which is going to be a democracy zone. So North Vietnam is led by a guy named Ho Chi Minh, and so Ho Chi Minh is going to invade South Korea. That's a civil war again, and the United States is going to go ahead and declare a war on Vietnam. So we'll declare war on North Vietnam, or on communist Vietnam. We do it because of the Gulf of Tonkin. We have a boat in the Gulf of Tonkin, which is an area outside of Vietnam. It's in the water area. The boat mysteriously explodes, and President Lyndon B. Johnson asks the United States to declare war. Congress gives him the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution. What that says is that the President of the United States has a blank check in Vietnam. He can do anything he needs to win this war, and we're winning the war because we're trying to win against communism. That's what we're trying to do. Now, he does this, right? The war goes on for a very, very long time. Americans start to become anti-war. We get the hippies, we get the protesters, we get the doves, those are the hippies, and then you get the hawks, the aggressive ones who want war. And eventually, America decides by 1973 that we need to leave Vietnam. And so the U.S. withdraws from Vietnam with the Paris Peace Accords. And by 1976, the last American soldiers are out, and South Vietnam falls to communism and has remained a communist nation today. So we're going to now look at these political cartoons. I'm sorry, I had to answer the phone, but I'm back now. So we're going to look at these political cartoons real quick. And political cartoons could be something you see on your exam. So this political cartoon, if you look at it, it says Russian America, and you have these two people, and you have like this lump of ice. So what do you think it is? This is the purchase of Alaska. So remember Seward's Folly, because everybody's like, aha, you stupid idiot, you bought this piece of land that is nothing more than ice. So Seward's Folly, because they think he's stupid. Here in this political cartoon, you got TVA, WPA, PWA, AAA. Well, that sounds like alphabet soup, and we all know what alphabet soup means. It means the New Deal. All right, this political cartoon, you got this, this guy right here. Let me try and make it a little bit bigger. Okay, this guy's right here, and he's standing, and he's got this big stick, and he's got, like, these people that he's wiping out below him. And so these people he's wiping out below him are people like in the Caribbean, Latin America. And this is big stick diplomacy. So remember, with the Roosevelt Colliery, the big stick diplomacy. So the next political cartoon you have is this one that's saying trying to change the umpiring. And you have this figure, which is the Supreme Court. And so what this one's talking about, if you look at here at the bats, it's got like different programs like NRA, AAA, AAA. Okay, so these are our New Deal programs. And obviously they've been struck out. And so what this program or this political cartoon is talking about is the court packing scheme by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So here's just some different political cartoons you might see on your final exam. You know, you might not see them. Maybe I'm just throwing them on there. Who knows? But these are the questions that you guys need to study in order to be successful on your United States history final exam.